What's the church Scientology so afraid of?
This is SPTV. Welcome back, everybody, for a little bit more SPTV, where every day is a great day not to be in a cult. Some really crazy stuff came out yesterday regarding the Russia-Ukrainian conflict. And there's two people involved in what we're about to discuss today. And I'll pull up their names here. One is a man by the name of Igor Strelkov-Girkin. And the other is Sergei Gidienko. Sergei. Okay, so Igor Girkin is a bit of a shady character. And I was going to screenshot the articles that I'm reading from here, but it might just be easier for me just to read them without screen sharing them for right now. Okay, so Igor Girkin was involved back in 2014 in the annexation of Crimea. He was also involved in shooting down the airliner, Malaysia Airlines Flight 17, where almost 300 people perished. He was found guilty in absentia of that and convicted of war crimes and issued a life sentence. He is not in prison. He is, to the best of my understanding, I've done some homework on this. It seems like he's basically right now kind of an armchair quarterback, a backseat driver, sort of a military blogger, criticizing the Russian leadership for botching the invasion of Ukraine, but rooting for them to do better. He is pro-Russia, and as such is criticizing the Russian leadership for what they've been doing. In other words, they haven't been doing a good enough job, is his position. Now, the other guy that I mentioned, Sergei Gidienko, he's the former prime minister of Russia and present first deputy chief of staff under Vladimir Putin. Well, Igor has accused Sergei of being a Scientologist, not only being a Scientologist, but being a Sea Org member. Seeing this stuff discussed in Russian by senior or highly connected Russian officials is strange. So I'm going to show you the video. The video, there's a short segment. It does have subtitles. And for those of you who are just listening and not watching, I will pause and read the subtitles. So, by the way, the context of this conversation that's happening in the video, I'm not going to play the entire conversation, is that Igor is saying that if Ukraine is allowed to push through whatever the current border is, whatever the current conflict border is, that basically Russia will be all will be lost for Russia if they allow the Ukrainian forces to move the battlefront any closer to Russia than it already is. So here we go. Let's just listen to this. Okay, question from the audience. Why don't you believe that everything happening in the country was planned in advance? Is the question he's going to be responding to here. He says, because I myself was a military official for a long time, and I know how the system works from the inside. He says, yes, there are enough saboteurs in it. So I think he's saying, yes, there are enough saboteurs in it and plenty of foreign agents in the system. And above all, the higher in the career ladder, the more there are of them. And the strongest concentration from the time of Boris Yeltsin is on the old square. And that's referring to the leadership of the Communist Party.
Чем выше вверх по служебной лестнице, тем их больше. А самая концентрация, она со времен Бориса Николаевича у нас на Старой площади засела. Начиная с...
He says, starting with the first deputy head of the administration, it seems to me that's what we call the chief of staff. So starting with the first deputy head of administration, Sergei Gidienko, who is a Scientologist and a member of the Sea Organization, who signed a 1 million-year contract.
Первого зама главы администрации, который, извините, член саентолог и член морской организации, на 1 миллион лет контракт подписал. Кто захочет.
Anyone who is laughing should Google what is Ron Hubbard's Sea Organization.
Погуглите, что такое морская организация Рона Хаббарда. Ну, это вообще...
Actually, Hubbardists and Scientologists were considered by our intelligence prior to 1991 and after, as a matter of fact, by our counterintelligence as well, to simply be a subsidiary of the CIA.
То есть хаббардисты, саентологи рассматривались нашей разведкой до 91 года, да и после, на самом деле, и контрразведкой, в качестве просто филиала ЦРУ. И когда у нас замглавы администрации член...
When the deputy head of the administration is a member, an advanced member of the given organization, what more can be said?
Продвинутый член данной организации, ну что дальше-то можно говорить? Но зная, как работает...
But knowing how Scientology works, I want to say no, that they are not really part of the CIA, but that yes, saboteurs assist, but stupidity, ...
Это я хочу сказать нет. Да, вредители помогают, но тупость и система, при которой...
Stupidity and a system in which the management never appoints a deputy who is at least an equal in intellect and waits for him to supply favorable information, it works better than any sabotage. So guys, what I'm understanding him to be saying is essentially don't ascribe to malice what can easily be ascribed to incompetence or stupidity. That's what I'm getting.
Начальство никогда не назначает хотя бы равного по уму заместителя и ждет, что тот будет снабжать его благоприятной информацией, она работает лучше, чем любое вредительство. Для врага работает лучше. Тысячи примеров мог бы привести, если бы мог, если бы имел на это право. Но я сам видел много раз важнее.
Okay, so he goes on to talk about how he has seen information, incorrect information make its way up the ladder. So, okay, so what I looked up was any other mentions of Sergei Kiriyenko and Scientology. And I did find something that I am going to share with you here. All right, let's take a look at this. This is from way back in 1998. And I'll tell you right off the bat, I'm a little suspicious at any accusation that this guy's still involved in Scientology, considering how highly connected he is. First to Boris Yeltsin. He's been connected at the hip with Vladimir Putin for decades. I just don't think a guy like this stays in place with a connection to Scientology or is able to hide a connection to Scientology. But this article does explain where the idea came from. So let's take a look at it. Okay. Russia's youthful, inexperienced. I'll zoom in a little more here. Russia's youthful, inexperienced, and until last week, almost unheard of prime minister designate was yesterday grappling with potentially damaging allegations linking him with the Church of Scientology. Just over a week after being yanked out of obscurity by Boris Yeltsin, Sergei Kiriyenko, 35 years old, hit his first unexpected skid patch after a German newspaper reported that he had attended a one-week Scientology course when he was the head of a bank 3 years ago. All right. The teachings of L. Ron Hubbard are regarded with profound suspicion by Russian officialdom, particularly by the powerful Russian Orthodox Church. The same views are likely to be shared by many of the parliamentarians due to vote on Friday over whether to confirm Mr. Kiriyenko's nomination. Yesterday, Mr. Yeltsin sought to dampen the protests over his choice of prime minister by inviting the two speakers of parliament and Mr. Kiriyenko himself to talks at his residence outside Moscow later today. The invitation appeared to work. Soon afterwards, deputies from the State Duma, or lower house, dropped demands for Mr. Kiriyenko's nomination to be suspended. Wow, that's interesting. The allegations of his connection to Scientology were so inflammatory they didn't want to confirm him in his position. That's remarkable. The minister yesterday tried to brush off the newspaper report, which claimed he arranged for other bankers to attend similar seminars. He was reported to have declared that he appreciated the, quote, simplicity and clarity, unquote, of Hubbard's teachings. Later, the paper said he lost interest in Scientology. Okay, so even the newspaper that broke this story said that he had later lost interest in it. Okay. Under quizzing from reporters, Mr. Kiriyenko said yesterday it was the best April Fool's joke yet, but there was no outright denial. Okay. Although Scientology has a sizable following among Russians, the ruling elite is unlikely to take kindly to the idea of being led by an official who has any links to Scientology. Last year, hostilities erupted in a landmark court case over an Orthodox church leaflet which warned of the dangers of totalitarian sects, naming among others the Scientologists, the Moonies, and the White Brotherhood. All right. For all of its distaste, Russia has not cracked down as hard as Germany, which, in spite of outcries from human rights groups, U.S. politicians, and Hollywood heavyweights, including Dustin Hoffman and Oliver Stone, passed tough laws controlling the Scientologists. But they were undoubtedly among the sects targeted by a law signed last year by Mr. Yeltsin, which restricted the rights of non-Russian religions. I've been contacted by people over the last year or two who are under the impression that Russia has banned Scientology, and that's actually not true. The Russian authorities have raided the Scientology facilities in Moscow and St. Petersburg. It seems like a couple times over the last few years. There's been a lot of accusations of some kind of fraud and money laundering going on at the Scientology organizations. I've never really taken the time to put all that information together and do a video about it. But Russia has not banned or outlawed or shut down Scientology operations. There's another thing I found online that's not translated, but I had a friend help me translate it, that explained the courses that Sergei Kiriyenko took were at the Hubbard College of Administration in Russia. Now, the Hubbard College of Administration is one of these Scientology front groups where business professionals can be tricked into taking business training courses without fully realizing that what they're doing is Scientology. And it didn't surprise me at all to find out that that is how a guy like Sergei Kiriyenko ended up having any connection with Scientology whatsoever. He didn't walk in the front door of a Scientology mission or a Scientology organization. Someone got to him through the business consulting angle. The Hubbard College of Administration is run out of, I guess you could call it a subsidiary of the Church of Scientology International, called the World Institute of Scientology Enterprises, or WISE. And WISE has essentially taken a bulk of what Scientologists call their administrative technology or their admin tech, their policy volumes, and they've repackaged these policy volumes into shorter, easier to understand course packs. There's at least 9 of them. I used to work for one of these business consulting companies called Measurable Solutions. We worked catered specifically to physical therapists, private practice owners in the physical therapy field. And it has most of the Scientology words taken out. Like the basic words are in there, but any of the advanced words are taken out so that you can have non-Scientologists study these materials without having to become proficient in speaking Scientologese. And I'm going to be a little long-winded about this. When I was working as a business consultant at Measurable Solutions, all of our clients were non-Scientologists. In fact, you guys might find it interesting, Scientologists are not allowed to sign up for courses at one of these consulting companies because they're considered feeder lines into Scientology. Once you're in Scientology, you can't go back and do these WISE courses. You can only do these WISE courses if you're a non-Scientologist. And that is to prevent these companies from competing directly with Scientology organizations. So all of our clients were non-Scientologists. And you go, okay, well, how did they sell these very expensive courses? I mean, the intro pack was like $30,000. The medium pack was $60,000. The full 9 pack, as they called it, was $90,000. It's expensive shit. You actually pay more to do these courses at these business consulting companies than you would to do the corresponding course at a Church of Scientology. Okay, so how did you convince all these non-Scientologists to sign up? I did it by not being secretive about the Scientology connection. I would go, yes, this is all based on the works of L. Ron Hubbard. As you know, here's all the books are all here. You see all the volumes here. But the reason you're studying that course pack instead of studying this big green volume is so that you as a non-Scientologist can just get the management principles without having to study Scientology. So in other words, I sort of I kind of like flipped the whole story on its head. Because depending on how you look at it, you could either say this is Scientology, or you could say this is the unscientologized version of the Scientology. And that's how I chose to approach it. Be like, no, we're not trying to turn you into a Scientologist. If that's what we were trying to do, we'd be trying to get you to study this green volume here. Instead, we're giving you this other version that you don't have to learn all the Scientology words. And they're like, okay, great. So again, I know I'm being long-winded. It just doesn't surprise me that the Hubbard College of Administration underneath WISE is how Scientology managed to like establish its little beachheads or whatever, you know, get its hooks into some people who otherwise would have probably stayed away. Let me see. Is there anything else that I wanted to say about this? Oh, there's one other video. This one's not translated, but I just kind of want to show it because I think it's interesting. It's only 90 seconds long. Let me see. Here it is. Here it is. And this, again, this video, I believe, is from 1998 as well. I don't even have my headphones in, but yeah. So this was a big enough deal. I guess I should put at least one headphone in.
О всех событиях, о всей информации, в том числе и информации, которая носит служебный характер. А что такое служебная информация для примера? Это информация закрытого типа, составляющая государственную тайну, но это и великая служебная информация. Значит, если...
I mean, this was a big deal.
Знают, кто такие Scientology. То есть ФРГ только запретили.
Let's see what he said.
Кто только знает, кто такие Scientology. ФРГ только запретили. А по миру они очень широко распространены.
Считаете, это не повредит?
Конечно, конечно, конечно. Это любопытство молодого человека. В городе появилась какая-то секта Scientology. Прийти, посмотреть, послушать.
The only word I understand is Scientology.
Я не вижу ничего. Наоборот, будет хуже, когда избегают. Они знают ничего.
Иван Николаевич, сегодня прошла информация об участии Кириенко в саентологической секте. Как вы относитесь?
Ой, Господи, не слышал я такую информацию.
Не знаю.
I don't know who that guy is, but that's the guy. That's Sergey Kirienko. I got to tell you guys, he looks like a Scientologist. He looks David Miscavige sized. He looks like the perfect Russian Scientologist. Okay, I see someone saying in the comments that Scientology is banned in Russia. It is not. It is not. All right, let me jump over to the super chats real quick. I find it just incredible that someone who he might be the first deputy chief of staff right now, but he was the prime minister of Russia. I find it incredible that anyone at that level had taken a Scientology course at any time. Like, I know Miscavige considers that a victory, no matter what this guy is currently saying. So you have to wonder if this guy, if someone like Sergey, being in the position that he's in, being as powerful as he is he part of the reason why Russia does crack down on Scientology, or is he perhaps part of the reason why Russia has not completely banned them as an organization? I'm not sure which way I go on that one. Okay, Prince Muskie says maybe he thought the Malaysia airline was a DC-8 space plane and assumed that Xenu was being picked up from his mountain cave prison. That is actually a really good theory, Prince Muskie. Thank you for that one. Delia Watercolors. Delia? There's no independent journalism in Russia. It is entirely state-run, filled with propaganda. It's typical to, at best, accuse critics of outlandish things. At worst, make them disappear. Yeah, that makes sense. What's interesting is that it wasn't the Russian press that made this accusation or did this research. It was the German press. And it doesn't seem like Sergei has ever actually denied it. In fact, it doesn't seem like he's ever denied it. Also, I will say, to be fair, there is a big difference between doing a course or a few courses at the Hubbard College of Administration or a seminar. I think he did a one-week seminar, and being a Scientologist. I think I can say that to be completely fair. Many of the clients I consulted at Measurable Solutions, most of them were not Scientologists, never became Scientologists, and would spit on you if you called them a Scientologist. In fact, my biggest client, who actually hired me away from the consulting company, this is a client that had 7 clinics in South Carolina and 10 clinics in the Vail Valley out in Colorado. And they hired me to basically meet with all 17 of their clinic managers once a month and help their clinic managers learn some of the basic principles that the owners, there was 3 owners of this company. The 3 owners had come to Clearwater to study these courses, knew they were never going to have the time to implement the stuff that they studied. So they actually hired me to help them with it. And these guys are not Scientologists, never were, never had any interest in it, never became one later, never had their staff become anything. And so, like I said, to be fair, Sergey taking a 1-week seminar and doing a course or 2 at the Hubbard College of Administration does not mean he ever had any actual interest in Scientology. Okay, Claire Alice. WTF? 1, was that a Russian Confederate flag? Good question. I don't know. I wouldn't put it past the CIA to make a deal with Scientology for access to dirt, Epstein similar, to have or keep tax-free status. So weird and funny on so many levels. Yeah, lots of craziness. That is one of the conspiracy theories that's existed for a long time, is that the CIA or one of Scientology's attorneys had cut a deal with the CIA and something or other. I don't know. It's hard to keep track of that kind of stuff. Thank you for the super chat, Claire Alice. Lonesome Squirrel, aka CO Bilf. CO Bilf. SPTV needs some Russian and Spanish language channels. Yes, indeed. How cool would that be? There's a lot of former Scientologists in Mexico and South America. There's a lot of former Scientologists in Russia and Europe. Hell, there's a lot of former Scientologists here in Clearwater, Florida. We absolutely need some Russian and Spanish channels for SBTV. All right, everybody, that's really all I got. Happy Father's Day to all you fathers out there. Hope you had an enjoyable day. And guys, I cannot help but call everyone's attention to the trial run that Mark Headley and I did last night of a live stream fundraiser for the Aftermath Foundation. I'm going to pull it up right here. Guys, we did a 2-hour live stream. At the end of the 2 hours, we'd raised about $5,300 for the foundation. And I'm going to pull it up right now to see where it's at. Bear with me. We are right now at $7,650. Let me see. Can I, you know what? I'll just put a link to the video in the description down below instead of trying to show everyone here. Absolutely incredible. And you know, David Miscavige is furious because that means in a 2-hour live stream video, we were able to raise more money than most Scientology organizations raise in an entire week. So there you go. All right, everyone, that's all I got for now. And that's all I'm going to do this evening. So thank you guys for joining me. Thanks to everyone who watches until the very end. And I'll talk to you soon.
Okay, if you want to see my rock and roll songs, click right on this guitar. And if you want to see a different one of my videos, then you could click right inside here. If you have subscribed or not, subscribe right here. Bye.